Today we have a pleasure of speaking with Notre Dame play-by-play announcer Don Creaky, and of course the Notre Dame Fighting Irish will be playing the Florida State Seminoles in this year's Champ Sports Bowl. I'm Dan Harrelson alongside Nick Taylor, and Don, how are you doing today?
Very good, guys. How you doing?
Pretty well. Let's talk about this matchup with Florida State. I guess it's been a while since the two have played. Are you excited about the upcoming matchup?
Oh, I think so. There's a lot of history in the rivalry. I think both teams are probably better than their records. They're both 8-4. And I think, this is the first time ever this bowl game is sold out way in advance. So there's a lot of interest in it.
Well, talk a little bit about the up and down season that has been Notre Dame football. They played two good games to start the year, but they came up on the short end of both of those games, and then they seemed to rebound and even get themselves back in contention for a BCS game until the Southern Cal loss. But they again, seem to have been playing fairly well down the stretch. What's your take on Notre Dame as they go into this game, and do these two teams mirror each other a little bit since they both have had some ups and downs?
Oh, there's no question they've had ups and downs. Notre Dame started 0-2, really lost to South Florida, a major upset in the opener, then really gave the game away at Michigan. Notre Dame had the lead with 30 seconds to play, and Michigan first and 10 on Michigan's 20, and gave up some long passes, and Wolverines came back and won it. And as you may be aware, Florida State had a similar slow start. They lost 3 of their first 5. So they both played better football since some rough sledding early on.
Well, Don, talk about Brian Kelly. What is it, year number 2 now? Talk about the progress being made, the foundation that he is laying down in South Bend. Do you think this is a program that can be in BCS-type bowl games and even national championship games in the coming future?
Well, I think that, he's a proven winner. He's only 50 years old, but this is his 21st year as a head coach in college football. And I think he's something like 77% wins. So he knows how to win games, and the thing I'm impressed with, he's also recruiting a very good base. He'll have a good team next year, particularly on the defensive side. So I think they're going to get better. They'll be better next year than they are this year. I think he's building the right way. I'm impressed with Kelly.
What are some key matchups that may come off the top of your head that you see that'll be a key factor determining who wins the football game on both the Notre Dame and Florida State side? Is there anything that jumps out at you as things to look for in this game?
Well, Florida State has some terrific defenders. They didn't have a great year on offense. It wasn't bad, but their defense is one of the very best in the country. I think overall, scoring defense is number 4. Knowles only give up 15 points a game. I would say certainly a big matchup in the defense-offense mode would be Notre Dame's All-American receiver, Michael Floyd, who caught 95 balls this year. He's going to be drafted in the first round by the NFL against some really good Florida State cornerbacks like Greg Reed and Xavier Rhodes, Mike Harris also. So that'll be an interesting matchup. I'll be interested to see if Notre Dame can move the ball. Florida State does not give up many yards rushing, only 2.3 a carry they allowed. And so FSU is really built on defense this year, and I would project it to be maybe a little bit of more of a low-scoring game. To give you an idea how good their defense is, Florida State had a total offense against Florida in their last game, 95 total yards, and still won the game 21-7 because they had great defensive play. Florida State's key is defense. Can Notre Dame score on them? We'll have to wait and see. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game, though.
Well, Don, with all the conference expansion and shake-ups, however you want to view it and look at it, Notre Dame's still sitting there as the historic team, being an independent team in college football. Do you ever see Notre Dame maybe joining a conference, and do you think by not being in a conference, do you think that hurts the Fighting Irish?
Well, their position is that they want to play all over the country because it's really they have a national alumni base, and for that reason they want to stay independent and play like Southern California and Stanford from the West Coast, and teams like Boston College in the East Coast that play in the South, a lot of games in the Midwest. I think if the Big East had fallen apart, and Notre Dame would be forced to join a conference. The Big East is just 8 of 4 or 5 schools, so they're going to be going strong again. The Big East, Notre Dame's 26 teams, other than football, men's and women's, play in the Big East. I think with the Big East signing up these new schools, that Notre Dame will stay the course as they are, independent football. Everything else will be played in the Big East Conference.
Don, you're a veteran of calling football games both in college and in the NFL. What are some things that you've seen over your years of broadcasting? Some differences in the college game and in the pro game in terms of both the players and the coaches. And which game do you prefer, not only as a broadcaster but as a fan?
Well, I really like them both, and I think you see the same parallels, Nick, of what's changed in the games. And that is the players in college and in the pros are bigger and faster than ever before. It's pretty remarkable. The speed of the game now and the quality of the athletes. And they're both they're in lockstep on that. I mean, both games, pro and college, have gotten bigger and faster. I don't think it's going to change. It's going to keep getting even bigger and faster.
Well, Don, let's talk about that January 9th game in New Orleans between Alabama and LSU. Both teams, of course, from the Southeastern Conference. Any idea who you may like in that game?
Well, we've had a good look at the matchup because they've already played. I don't think you'll see Alabama miss 4 of 6 field goals again. And if the Tide, had just hit 4 of 6, not missed 4, they'd have won the game. So I think it's a heck of a game again. I think, again, you're looking at great defense and, a lot of team speed. I mean, these are tremendous football teams. And I think in a game like this, probably through Florida State, Notre Dame, the team that wins the turnover count, turns it over the fewest times, is your winning team. I don't think, like when Bama plays LSU, I don't think either team can afford to be on the short end of the turnover count and win the game. So I think that's all security is everything in these huge games.
Well, one last question on Bama and LSU. There's been a lot of controversy, obviously, given how the BCS turned out. Do you have an opinion on it? And if so, what is your opinion? And do you feel like the two best teams are playing in New Orleans?
Well, I think in all honesty, the two best teams are playing. I mean, Alabama, they lost one game to the number 1 team in the country by 3 points. On a day their kicker had, a bad day. Did lose at home. Now, that's a big feather in LSU's cap, but I think the two best teams are LSU and Alabama. I think they've got it right. I mean, Oklahoma State had a tremendous year, but, they also lost to Iowa State, which is an okay team, but certainly a middle-level team. It's not an elite team. So I think that Bama and LSU is the matchup to have for a national title.
Well, Don, thank you for coming on today on short notice, and we're looking forward to that Champ Sports Bowl between two historic football programs in Notre Dame and Florida State.
And we'd like a minute where you off the record we finish up, and we wish you a great holiday season coming up, Don.
Well, the same to you guys. Very nice to be with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, bye now.